Weird science
is the revolution.
Jackpot and Black Cat #3, written by Celeste Bronfman, art by Emilio Laeso and Gaeta Belviso. I'm terrible. Brian Reber on colors, VC's Ariana Mayer on letters. Now, just to point out the torture of this, me and you both had to go back and reread the series to get to this because I didn't think I would ever review it again. But I thought, you know what, when you said that you would join me for some books, this is a trial of fire and an idea of a book that I just don't get. I mean, going back and reading it, you even sent me a couple little notes, but it's such a weird book, right?
I did even kind of got the sense there was a little bit of a hazing element to assigning this book to me. It's funny because when I was looking at the books that were coming out this weekend, I tried to kind of guess what you might toss my way. I pegged Helverine right away. I thought maybe you'd toss me that one, and sure enough, that popped right into my inbox. And then I saw this, and I said, okay, he's testing me here.
It is a test, and we'll see if you are able to pass. Pass is to get me through it. That's what I need. I need a crutch. But this book, and I ended up where told you had read it. You kind of said like, boy, this stuff going on in this, I just don't understand. And then when I go into it, it just throws it right into the deal right away. First page of this issue. Why is it that this book wants to somehow point out bad things that people do for them to just do them anyway, to then point out bad things that they do that I don't get it. Like, why are they bringing up things like, oh my God, I have my hair all messed up, but it's bad for the environment to go on a jet, but here we go. It keeps happening, right?
Yeah. And the way they say it almost comes across like they're trying to make a parody of it. And in a sense, it's almost kind of said in this way, like, oh, everyone knows that what we're saying is kind of this, political thing and what have you, but we're not really going into it, but we're trying to make you think that we're smart enough to recognize that it's a thing that people talk about, but it's just really confusing. It's not even
confusing.
It's not even like a normal thing where I feel like they're browbeating me with some political stuff. It's not like that. It's like they're trying to do something like that while being funny about it, but it's not funny.
And I agree. And that's the weird thing is, I think you're 100% right, but I don't know that that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what they're really trying to do, but it's the best I can do.
Me and you are in my backyard where I have charcoal going and we're cooking meat, and then I'm like, oh, look at me, the environment. I'm like, the idea that they're doing it but making fun of it, but not. I just don't get it.
But then we're going to do it anyway. Like, we're still going to use our hairspray. We're still going to eat all this meat because fuck all that stuff. It's pretty stupid, but we do believe it, so we're going to make sure we say it.
So weird. It is just so weird. But all in all, with that, the actual story makes no damn sense. I mean, we have where Felicia has her new girlfriend, Amelia Morrow, who then happens to be running this Obscura app that's blackmailing everybody. But Felicia knows and is in with it, even though a lot of people are having their lives threatened, all these things. But they want to end up getting back at people because Amelia's tech was stolen, but also want to steal tons of money from Owlsley. And at the end, I'm like, how the hell did this happen? And then, hey, there's Mary Jane and Paul, who I hate and just can't stop wearing just a hoodie. The guy has no other apparel in there. But
where did Paul come from, by the way? Because I did actually go back and do research, if you can call it that, and read issue 1 and 2. And Paul just existed. So I must have missed Paul.
Yes. And that's the funny thing is most people will know, listening to this, my hatred of Paul. Paul came in the Zeb Wells run of Amazing Spider-Man, where when Mary Jane got stuck in a time displaced, like a pocket dimension, that time went different. So Peter went to save her. But by the time Peter went to save her, she had already lived with Paul for years upon years, ended up falling in love with him. They had kids that weren't theirs, but they were there. Those kids disappeared. I mean, just disappeared. And now we're left with Paul.
So Paul's from a pocket dimension?
Yeah, he's basically the son of a super villain who ended up helping them get out of this dimension and take down that. And
I'm going to call it right now. Paul is actually behind Obscura.
I would say that Paul in the long run will be the villain, but already is because he's terrible. He does what he does in this. He just walks around and does what Mary Jane says and whatever. But in this, you then, and also is very in with the jackpot power that Mary Jane has. That was kind of developed before this series, but wasn't. But one of the things, if you're not aware, the jackpot deal where she has gauntlets and she has, like a crazy wheel, the whole deal, the whole slot machine idea. That is like a dial H or a bend 10. But the problem is there was no rules to it. So in this issue, again, she's allowed to respin. If it doesn't, that totally throws everything out. And at one point, you could get like crossbones, you die. There is a very slim chance that anytime you spin
that was
it,
not
you
made
could
clear
die.
to me.
No, because Paul ended up being able to finagle it so that didn't happen. So you have like this big tension, but you don't. And then without any rules, I mean, the idea that you have a hero that spins a wheel, and if they don't like the power, they just respin it. What has happened, if you have noticed, every time she respins, the second time's a charm. It always works
just
out
seems
that
to
way.
work out that way.
Yeah, instead of making it a power that, oh my God, Mary Jane's very smart. She gets the power of control of birds. Maybe might not be the most inopportune time for it, but let's see how she could react and use that to her advantage. They don't do that.
Mary Jane is a Rook Exodus over here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. And so that it just, there's nothing going on. And now it ends up being, oh no, Paul figured out that the Obscura deal is Amelia. Oh, let's go see if Felicia's in trouble. Let's see if she knows. And we know she knows. We already saw it, but that there's no story here. I mean, they go over to the apartment and they're just kind of sitting around. The dialogue is just bad. It's just really wooden and bad.
One more note on this jackpot power, by the way, because here's what I don't get, and maybe I'm not supposed to get it. Maybe it's just a because comics thing, but she spins this thing, right? And she gets some sort of symbols that dictate what the power is. What I don't understand is how she automatically knows what the powers related to those symbols are. It's like 3 birds. Oh, yeah, I can control birds now.
Yeah, you're saying that. Matt, who he bailed, it's been tossed to you. The first issue, he said exactly like, why would a lemon, a star, and a bell? And certain times when you had that, what you would do and what you should do, as you're saying, you should spin it, birds, maybe a fist, power of birds, something that you could play along with. But she knows right away. Like she sits there and sees this and then yells out whatever it is, and then almost always says, I can't do that. After, legitimately, how many birds die, whether they're New York pigeons.
Birds just flying into skyscrapers because she's trying to figure this power out.
They're flying into the subway, into the deal, and all die. And then she's like, this doesn't work. Because even at that point, when you end up having Mary Jane tell Felicia, oh my God, you know what? We found out that Amelia, she's the bad Obscura. And then Felicia's like, I know, but she's really good and I love her. Like, this is a new character, Amelia, who we didn't know before this. So we never saw any background of them. It's new love. So, but again, Felicia does what Felicia does. But the idea I want to present to everybody is, and really go with, Mary Jane and Felicia aren't really great friends. They just became a kind of a team up type of deal. They were never friends. And Felicia at one point was dating Peter very recently even. And the big play was, oh my God, Mary Jane's getting mad because she doesn't know me. Suddenly when Celeste Bronfman
they're
comes
friends
in,
enough to be on a private bathroom conversation level.
That's it. Now they're, and Mary Jane will keep saying, man, people care about you like I always have. No, you haven't always have.
She even says here, you're my friend. I was always going to get involved. Implying that they're so tight that, of course.
Like they're so tight that the big thing. Most of it was the idea of, I hope that, Felicia, I hope that Mary Jane doesn't find out and is mad that I was dating Peter, but in a way of not being friends like that. And so all of a sudden they're the tightest of friends. They're having private bathroom conversations. But even with that, everybody is just so wooden. They come in, they sit down. We got croissants. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I end up, I'm a financial advisor. Oh, cool. We're out of here. And they leave. And then the whole play is like, yep, Felicia knows. And then yep, MJ knows. And they have to go back and forth. But the full point of this is that this Amelia is a villain. She is doing bad things. She is making people and blackmailing them in a weird way because it is this app. That, I mean, I'm telling you, just delete the app. Just get off the app.
This is what I've never understood as well.
That's the whole thing. The way to win this battle is to delete the app. And they don't just ridiculous. And then there's this stuff thrown in of Wi-Fi, and I don't have this, and I don't have that, and now everybody's going after Mary Jane again.
And why are people downloading this app in the very first place? They haven't presented us anything like what the app is pretending to be that people then get and go, oh, just kidding, it's a blackmail app.
It's a blackmail app. I love the idea. At this point, it's gone far enough where there would be news stories, like, hey, everybody, obscure app being used to blackmail people, and then there's, oh, I think I'll download that. Let me see. Why would you do this? And everybody has it. Like, there's not one person who doesn't have it. In fact, when they end up where Mary Jane and Paul, they're waiting for the train. The train comes to pick them up. Now, in that you had Amelia hit a button, and everybody go against Mary Jane. Like, first off, how do they know who Mary Jane is? I know that Amelia is tracking her. She says, I'll track her, the deal, but the idea that people
with the
just
app
be
that she hasn't deleted.
Yeah, that she hasn't deleted. And so, and they're trying to find the deal. And then you see, guy has a cart where it's filled with ropes and things what is going on in this book that people could just randomly get a text? You have to go after Mary, and everybody's already there, weapons in hand, all ready to kill everybody. And then Mary Jane's like, oh my God, we have to get out of that. And hits the jackpot power, gets the power of birds, as we said. And that is, again, lemon, bell, star.
Which means control the birds, obviously.
Control the birds. The birds come. She doesn't have to think it out because it does randomly happen, but birds die by slamming into the train.
And if I hadn't read the intro to this already, I might be able to say, well, maybe there's 12 of these combinations, so she knows them all. But they actually are very clear that there is an infinite number of random powers for her to use. They're not just powers, they're random powers, ranging from the awesome to the useless to the deadly. So far, mostly useless, I'd say.
Yes. Yeah. Well, first time, useless. Second time, she'll fight. It happens every time. And the idea, again, I can't say it enough. Having a character with a random power set like this, like a Dial H, like I said, but the fun of it is, oh no, is she going to get the power she needs for the situation? And then if she doesn't, oh, is she smart enough to figure out a way to make it work anyway? You don't do that. You end up and it's always this. Boom. Oh, birds. Oh, no. She doesn't even realize it at first. She's in a freaking train and these birds are hitting. She's like, oh, well, shoot. Give me something good this time. So randomly, it's not random. It is, but you can keep going infinite times of trying. She could legitimately just sit there all day and just boom, boom, boom. There's not even anything that's been spelled out that she can only do this once a day. Twice a day, nothing. There are no rules, and they make it worse because now she gets the power of wind blasts, I guess.
Why not just wake up every morning and just spin that thing till you get an awesome power and then lock that in and keep it? Now that's your power now.
So at some point, again, because Paul ended up kind of taking out, and what he did, this is the best. You end up having this jackpot gauntlet thing. And it's, oh my God, at some point, very small percent, you might die, but you also might get the most awesome power. Like now you have the power to blink out reality. But he said what I had to do was kind of mid the whole thing. Like he actually did explain for a comic book, we had to make these powers more mid so that you wouldn't die. I'm like, yeah, that's a really good concept because like you said, it's like a video game. You get a combo that works, you just jam on that thing. You don't change it. Always, why not do that? Why not keep that power forever? But she doesn't. And even then, when the power it just disappears randomly because when they end up where she's pretty much attacking innocent people that she knows are on that train because they're being blackmailed, not really at one point saying, hey, everybody, let's take down Obscura together. But what are they going to do? You know what I mean?
They treat this blackmail thing almost like the people on the train and the people just walking around New York are possessed by an alien or a demon. Like they just snap, like they're all evil killers now, which is really hard to buy of people that are all just. It's not even clear what the threats are because all we've really seen is that like, oh, we know who your brother is, so watch out. We might get him with the same app, with the same app that you're not going to delete.
It would be crazy too. Like they think that like I like my brother. I'm like, take him. Like you were doing me a favor. And really, you said what they should do is the app should it should be some like crazy from hell.
Make it a virus at least, give us a reason why people have it.
Yes. Give people red eyes that start being possessed and that's why they can't seem to do something. But this is random. Like you said, we don't know why the guy is there with the frying pan in the train, but it might be because his daughter's in danger, or his wife, or his dog, or the guy tennis racket. Like, all these people just show up with random things, and it just doesn't work.
This is all based on the text that said "track her down" with a picture of Mary Jane. They took this to a little bit of an extreme.
Exactly. Here. At one point, they're like, "Just let us tie you down, and we'll be fine." Because what Amelia's trying to do is to delay MJ from telling on them or doing something about it, even though it doesn't look like they really were. They were trying to figure it out, and hey, we got to get Felicia out of the situation. But in the meantime, Amelia says, "Oh, we're going to get out of here. I just stole all this money from Owsley. We're going to get out of here. And don't worry about Mary Jane. I'm not hurting her. I'm just delaying her. I see guys with hammers. I see a guy with might be a pool stick and a wrench. I mean, these things that they're coming at, but they are definitely trying to beat at least up Paul, trying to get to Mary Jane.
I also love how Paul is holding all of these guys back while Mary Jane gets the gauntlet somehow.
In his hoodie. He's like, step back, people. Then he gets clocked, which is actually a couple times.
My favorite
great.
panel.
Oh,
sure.
So good. So good when he gets clocked. Again, though, they're attacking her when really they could have just, Obscura/Amelia could have done a lot of different things with her, like, make the train stop, delay, something like that. But
it's like a blackmail, like Ponzi scheme, like the pyramid scheme. It only works if everybody else is going to chase you because they're being blackmailed, but that only works because you're being chased by that. It's like
by being blackmailed and all this, and so she does attack him, but she's like pushing him away. And then you get off the train, and now we have Tracer, Squid, and Rocket Racer there to fight. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, what the hell is really going on here? And then they go. I love how everybody just goes.
Like, are they working for Amelia directly, or are they just other victims of the app that also have powers?
I think they might be the app, or I don't know. And then so it's going, and you end up where all this happening, and then you get Squid actually does grab on him. Really, if it is just the app, if they're doing that, really all they're trying to do is delay them a couple minutes. I mean, that's really what, Amelia says. Maybe she's not completely doing that with Dave, but that's all they're doing. They're trying to delay him so they can get out. Then you get a shot that I don't know quite what was going on, because Mary Jane's like, what's going on? And the guy's, I didn't do that. And then you have, that's one lucky misfire. And again, because now you have the luck power of
Squid had a tentacle shot by something from Black Cat.
And I guess it is the play. And this is what I also said in this, because it looks like Tracer might have accidentally shot Squid, even though he says, I didn't do that. But you end up where Black Cat does cause different luck. That, one of her things
there it
will
is.
cause that. But that's never been. Why was
God,
that?
They both have like the same weird sort of semi-power.
And so why was that never brought up? That, oh my God, if we team up, it might make sense. Because or it's better because you'll have better luck. Or, oh my God, my bad luck.
If I spin it next to you, I get an awesome power every time.
Yeah, and so that would make them as...
We should be writing this book.
And really. And now I'm getting excited because then instead of saying longtime friend, old chum, it would be, oh my God, I never really knew. And they could, meet and, learn about each other as you go. But that could have been the beginning. The beginning could have been just basically, I have to be around you because I want these great powers. But even then, we've seen her do the powers with Felicia around. At one point, she was like going to fight demons in hell, and she started shooting bubbles out of her fingers. So that didn't work either. So, and again, just respins. So at the end, Felicia's there saying, I couldn't just let you get, delayed. I mean, at this point, it seems like it's a
play. You get held up by a few minutes.
You know how annoying that is when you try to get somewhere. I mean, really, it is so annoying. And so they start fighting together against these guys that we really don't know how or what they really are involved. And then we go to Owsley to find out. He's like, oh no, I had money stolen from me. Let's go kill Felicia. And you're like, at this point in 3 issues, like, what is this all about? What is this about? It starts with some of the stupidest power set ever to make a character nobody liked worse, and then get the idea of stealing from Owsley because of this and that. And Felicia she knows this.
And that's the other strange thing, man. I mean, I could list many strange things about this book, but Felicia's relationship with Amelia, in that conversation with Mary Jane, she's like, well, she's... Mary Jane's like, oh, she's just using you like everybody else. She's like, yeah, probably. But whatever, I love her, so we're just going to see how it plays out. It's like, what? You just agreed most likely she is doing villainous things, but she's kind of hot. So
I think that what Celeste Brumpen's doing, because I think me and you would both say this, probably using her, probably going to betray her, do whatever as this goes. So I think that Celeste Brumpen is like stuck in a little corner writing this, doesn't want to make Felicia look that dumb. I know the idea, I'm in love and this, but we didn't see this character before.
It makes her look even dumber that she has an idea.
I know, that's the worst, right? She's like, oh yeah, I think that will happen, but hey, you know me. The last time we saw, and this is what people got upset about, because Felicia was dating Peter. The whole thing of MJ and Paul together, it was a little less a thing because Peter and Felicia started dating, but then that just fizzled out, and then it's kind of left behind, and now all of a sudden, my live-in lover here.
You think that might be a point of conversation with this book?
Yeah.
Theory.
Yeah, you would. And you would think that when MJ and Felicia are together, maybe they kind of talk a little bit about that and whatnot, but they don't. They just are longtime friends that are caught in some wacky
That's
situation.
downloaded the wrong app.
Yeah. That's all it is. But that ends the deal where Owlsley is like full out. Not, I'm going to get that. And also the idea of having like 7 different names, Bandwidth, but made Obscura, but as Amelia.
It's still not clear to me either that she had the technology of the Obscura app stolen from her, and therefore she created Obscura to get back at the people that stole the app. So who are these other people that stole the app?
The other people were there was this corporation she worked for. She ended up trying to kill, and at one point in this, they were like, oh, that she went to get revenge on that CEO guy. Was she going to kill him? That was that conversation in the bathroom. No, she was never going to do that. Right. But that's a villain. Like, I know that it's bad. Like, this is what Celeste Brumpen, when she does it with, hey, I know I shouldn't spray my hair because it ruins the environment, but I'm going to do it. You have the same thing of, oh, well, I'm doing a villain thing, but they kind of were villains anyway before, and they harmed me. So now I'm not a villain, but I am, but whatever. Like, everything is lost in the middle. She pretty
much paints everyone as some combination of stupid and a shitty person. Either they're dumb because they're doing this thing they know is wrong, whether it's the spraying the hairspray or eating the meat or being with this chick, or they're knowingly doing the wrong thing and just doing it anyway.
You say that is like you even said when we're talking about this app thing and what everybody's doing, like the idea that you eat a burger might be something bad to some people, but you're just doing your thing. But when you point out that you know that you're doing something
and
bad,
believe that wholeheartedly,
and believe it, and then do it, you're worse. You're worse. Oh, it's worse.
Fuck the planet. Let's eat those steaks.
Yeah. Hey, screw it. I love the deal. I think it was the first issue where they were debating if they were going to eat steaks. That they shouldn't, because that would ruin the. They already bought the steaks. They were already there.
Whether they cook them is over. It doesn't matter now. We've already done the damage.
You already did. When did you decide?
We ordered the cow.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. What would you give this?
It's so hard to judge because I'm trying to decide what's worse: being hit over the head with sort of like activism in comics, or not being hit over the head, because in this weird way where it's like we know, but we also think it's stupid and we're not going to go by it. But it really does, as you and I talk through this, I realize that's how this must be how she sees people and how she is in real life, because she's not portraying it as a negative quality with anybody. She's not portraying it as a negative quality in their early conversations. They just laugh it off and go eat their steaks and watch the world burn. They're not even portraying Felicia as really bad for. If anything, they're portraying her as sympathetic. Like, yeah, I know that Amelia's a villain, basically, but I do love her. I just met her. How much dumber could she seem? So it's hard to give the writing much here in terms of anything, in terms of making sense, in terms of, I guess the characters are acting consistently stupid. So there is a consistency to that.
In the story, that is true. They are consistently stupid.
Yes, I'll give her that. It's hard to give this much more than I guess the art's not terrible. It's not good either. It's just not terrible. I think I have to give this. I think a fuck you 5 is too nice. I think I have to give it a 4.5, and I think that might be too high. But the art's not horrible. I think I'm a 4. I'm a little lower, but I'm with you because of the idea that it gets confusing. You don't know, and like you said, Celeste Brumpen must think in life like it's okay to know you're doing something bad that makes you better than not knowing. But when you know and do it, I don't know. You get lost. It's like a vortex. You get. I did like the cover. So I'll get that's where I get my extra 0.5.
Cover is pretty good. Yeah, I didn't quite look at the cover at that point, so I understand now. I'm looking at it now.
In fact, all the covers are, I would say, generally my highlight of these books. It's all downhill from there.
Weird science
is the revolution.